This video is sponsored by Dibbly Create. More about them later in the video. I'm going to show you how to publish a paperback book and hardcover book on Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing in this deep dive step-by-step tutorial. I'm leaving no stone unturned and will cover all pertinent details in the publishing process. If you need a quick 10-minute guide to getting it done, I've left a link in the description for you to skip to that. Otherwise, follow along with me. Let's get to it. Before we dive into doing the different print iterations, it's very important that you get your metadata sheet filled out and put off to the side. So that way it makes things a lot more efficient. If you don't have a metadata sheet, go over and visit dalelinks.com/metadata sheet. You're going to want to fill out the title, the subtitle, the author name, all that stuff. This is some of the stuff that I covered in the previous video when I published the ebooks. So a lot of this is going to be a bit of a repeat, and you'll find with KDP, it will fill in a lot of those things for you, but it's still very important to keep that metadata sheet available so that way you can kind of cross-check some of the information, and some of the stuff is going to slightly change, including the keywords and the categories. Let's get behind the dashboard here. I've already published the ebook over here. In the event that you are going to create just the print book by itself, you would just hit create. But since I've already got the ebook, I'm just going to go over here and hit create paperback. And it's going to import all of the information it had from the ebook version. Again, we won't necessarily need the metadata sheet, but it's good to cross-check, make sure everything is all set. We would set the book title and we'd set the subtitle. In the event that your book is part of a series, you would end up add to series, and you'd either start a new series or add it to an existing series. Now, with putting a series page together, it's available on US, UK, and Germany. It's a product page that will take all of the books within a series and put it onto one product page. Everything's fairly intuitive. I don't believe that I need to walk you through that step, but chances are very likely if you are creating a series, make sure you pause this video, fill all that stuff out, and then come right on back. Otherwise, let's just go ahead and jump right back into things here. Now, as far as the edition number goes, you can leave that blank unless this is an iteration beyond the first edition, meaning that this is the first creation of this. If I am going to publish, say, a second edition or third edition, that's when I would go ahead and fill that out. And of course, we've got the author name here. It's already been imported over from the ebook. In the event that you want to put contributors here, including other authors, an editor, a forward, illustrator, introduction, you would put it here. But again, make sure that you have permission to use somebody's name, because you might have worked with them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to list them on there. So for instance, when I work with an editor, I'm not going to list their name here unless they have some type of drawing power. Unless I had like Stephen King as my editor, I'm not going to fill out that area right there. I see a lot of authors doing that, and it's just inessential unless you would work that out in a contract with your editor or somebody else that you work with in this book. Don't fill this out. All right, so coming on down here, you know, I had looked at the product page for the ebook, and I really kind of like having the bolding right there. When you put your book description in here, it is so important that you just take your time, fill it out with the bolding, the italics, the underlines, the list, or even bullet points. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Dale, how do I get a description made? I'm glad that you asked. So when I wrote my book within Dibbly Create here, I used the KIP feature in the top right hand corner, and I hit description, and then I would fill out all the information that I need to. Nonfiction, writing and publishing would be this, the tone that I wanted to, and as well it would be in a project. Now in the event that you didn't produce any of this stuff here, you would want to upload the files. That way KIP, the AI, can analyze your work and give you the best description possible. Thankfully, when you do have it done once, you can come back and refer to it later on. So in this instance, you can see this is where I got the book description. Now I took this book description and I tweaked it a little bit. This right here, I got it nice and cleaned up and got it ready for publication right over here. Now we're going over the publishing rights. If you've written the book, or you've produced the book, or you own the rights to the book, that is where you're going to go ahead and select the top one. I own the copyright and hold the necessary publishing rights. This is a public domain work. That is if you are working with public domain. Now, something I shared in the past video was public domain. You're getting paid considerably less. And KDP has the right to refuse to publish public domain, because guess what? Public domain work, everybody and their mother published that back in the day, in the early 2010s, and now they're kind of like, yeah, we're going to take only things that are differentiating from the other one. I'm not going to discuss public domain much more. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not important to this particular lesson here. Now, the primary audience: does the book's cover or interior contain sexually explicit images, or does the book's title contain sexually explicit language? You got to answer this one honestly. So mine obviously doesn't have any sexually explicit things in a book about writing fiction. Now, when it comes to reading age, if you're just writing for a general audience, leave this go. But if you're a children's book author or a young adult fiction author of some sort, then you're going to want to make sure that you fix the minimum and you fix the maximum on this according to the age range. Will this limit your reach? Sure. But if you're trying to reach a specific audience, then you might want to go ahead and put that in there. All right, your primary marketplace. So important that you get this dialed in before you move forward. Now, this is going to be the region in which you want to market and promote your book, where you want to sell the most books. So since I'm in the US, I anticipate Amazon.com is the way I want to go. There are 13 regions you can choose from in here. So choose wisely, because once you get into the pricing step later on, it's going to be grayed out and you won't be able to change that. Let's go and choose the categories now. And it's the same process that we did with the ebooks, where we're going to go through and pick the most pertinent, most relevant categories to our book. Now, we can do a little bit more research when we come on over here into Dibbly Create yet again, and we can choose category search analysis, and we can just break it down to each one of these specific categories to see if it's relevant to what we're doing. Now, the nice thing is, again, I've done the work ahead of time and I can actually go in here. So for instance, this one is for reference, writing, research, and publishing guides and writing. And we can go ahead and scroll down and see what the bestseller rank, customer rating, total ratings. We can find out a lot more about this particular category. But one of my favorite tools that I like to cross-check with is BKLNK, or I call it booklink.com. So we'll go to BKLNK. And then we're going to choose Find Your Categories. And so I will go over to Amazon's marketplace and I'll find the specific product that is most relevant to my book. So this one's pretty good. We can look up here in the URL and find the ASIN here, or we can scroll down to the product details and we will find the ASIN right inside the product details area. Right here. And we can copy this, and what we'll do is we'll come over to BKLNK and we will drop it on in here, fix the marketplace according to where you found it at, and hit go find. Once you find those categories, we could see this is where the competition's placing theirs. So we would take note of these particular ones. This doesn't seem appropriate, but that's neither here nor there. We could see though, this is really where we want to head towards. Not sure about continuing education, but this is right on the mark. But it gives you a good idea. You might have to go and pull a few ASINs and a few books to kind of get the right categories for you. You can have up to 3. Only choose categories that your book is relevant to. Don't just pick a category because there's low competition. That's going to get you in a little bit of hot water. So we'll hit Reference, Writing, Research, and Publishing Guides. We're going to hit Writing, and we're going to hit Fiction. Going to do another one. It's rinse and repeat. Reference, Writing, Research, and Publishing Guides. Let's hit Writing again. And we're going to go ahead and put this into editing. Again, Reference, Writing, Research, and Publishing Guides. And let's go into Publishing and Books, and let's add in Authorship. And we're going to hit Save Categories. The next 2 steps here right here is if you have a low content book, this would be journals, notebooks, and planners, then you would need to disclose that. If it's a large print book, meaning 16 font size or greater, you would disclose that as well. But since neither one of those are for me, I'm just going to continue to move on. Now you'll see the 7 keywords were tossed into here. Could we leave these here? Absolutely. I would recommend that you take a little bit extra time to go in and do more keyword research. Here's one of the ways that you can do keyword research. Again, coming on over here to Dibbly Create, and we can go into that research tool. And now we can go into search term analysis and type in the specific search words that we want to. So writing could probably be one. And let's look up 5 books for this one. We can go into a full advanced search, having some custom search queries, but I find sometimes the general search is more than sufficient. Let me go ahead and hit search. And a few minutes later, they delivered some information about the books that are within a specific search term that I have here. And we can look at some of the strengths, the weaknesses of this. Now, I'm really more concerned about the keyword analysis. These keywords. The keywords are going to be the thing that your customers, your ideal readers are going to type into Amazon's search query and hopefully bring back your book. But now what we have to do is we have to see if there's proof of concept. We would highlight, copy this, and I'm going to press Control, Shift, and the letter N. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head on over to Amazon.com. I'm going to choose Books. It's important we do books and not Kindle Store. And then from there, I'm just going to go ahead and drop in that keyword. And now we see that the auto suggest is populating here: how to write a bestseller, how to publish a book, how to write a book, how to write a best-selling fiction book. And what we can do is take note of these particular keywords and see which ones make sense. Now, I'm not looking to publish a book because this book's about fiction writing, but something probably could be pertinent to this is how to write a bestseller, or how to write a book, or how to write a best-selling fiction. As soon as we have these keywords, we're going to kind of narrow them down. We're going to sift through them and see which ones work the best, and just press Enter. And it's going to pull up a certain amount of search volume. And you see this in the top left-hand corner, 1 of 16 of 521 for how to write a bestseller. Not bad. This is actually under 1,000 results. So this means there's going to be a little less competition. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that we need to stick with this. What we're going to want to do is go through and figure out what the rank is for each one of these books. So you can see this is pretty good rank. Anything below 100,000, we want to do that. That's kind of a little high, but it's not bad. Another one, great, fantastic. So we can see here, 1 million, 1 million. Now this plugin that I'm using is called DS Amazon Quick View. If you don't have that plugin, it's fine. You can find it. It's 100% free unless you want to do the upgrade, which is totally fine if you feel like that. I've always used the free option. What you would need to do though, if you don't have that plugin, is you would visit each one of the product pages. You would then scroll down and then take a look at the bestseller rank down here. Again, anything 100,000 or less is great, because anything around 100,000 means it's about one sale every other day, every day. So it's not too bad. So you're going to need to probably pause the video right now, and you're going to need to seed out everything that you need for your 7 keyword slots. In the event you already did the work before with the ebook, and you say, Dale, I am done doing all of the keywords, you can always just leave those keywords there, and you can come back and modify those later on. Just remember, when you do modify them, you'll need to go to the last step in the process and hit Publish Book, because otherwise it won't take. So go ahead and pause the video right now, and we'll scroll down to publication date here in just a moment. All right, so now we're looking at the publication date. This publication date and release date are the same. Fantastic, that's great. What if your book was previously released? We would select that, and it would say, my book was previously published. Enter the date it was previously published. So this would be if you're doing a second edition of some sort. So this one right here, we're just going to leave the publication date alone. That's fine. Let's go down to the release date. Now we can do the release immediately if we want to. Now I will tell you that KDP is a fickle beast. Sometimes it takes, I don't know, a day for them to process a print book, and other times it can take upwards of a couple of weeks. If it gets beyond 72 hours, then I would recommend you scroll down to the bottom of the dashboard and click Contact Us down here, because that right there is an issue. And chances are very likely they'll let you know what the big holdup is, and use either the phone support or the live chat support. I have found, by and large, the email support is almost always unhelpful. It's just my opinion. You can find out for yourself if you'd like. If you're looking to schedule your book for release, this is another option that you can do. Now, not to be confused with ebooks, you do pre-orders, and it will set up a product page where people can order your book before it's launched. They won't be able to get that book until the launch day. This one is a little different. It's just going to schedule the date. There's not going to be a product page at all when you're doing this. What it will allow you to do, if you've planned at least 1 month in advance, you can order author copies to be shipped to you, so that way it's ready for launch day. So if you're doing an in-person event or a big launch party of some sort, schedule's a nice one. But I've talked with the KDP team previously, and they say give yourself at least 1 month of advanced planning in order to actually get your books in person. So The more that you can kind of give yourself time, the better. But I'm looking to release this immediately. So we're going to go ahead and select that. We're going to hit save and continue, and we're going to go into the second part of the publishing process. All right, our next step in the process is going to be the ISBN, the International Standard Book Number. This is the identifier for your print publication, globally speaking. Now, you can get the free KDP ISBN, but remember, if you use that, you cannot use that ISBN anywhere else. So if you're looking to publish your book wide, which I will be publishing this print book wide, I'm going to bring my own ISBN. In the event that you want to get your own ISBN, you'll need to find the ISBN that is in your region. So for instance, Bowker is local to me here in the United States, and it's also for Australia as well. Over in the UK, it's Nielsen. You'll need to visit the International ISBN Agency to find out what is the most relevant ISBN organization for you. That is going to be over at dalelinks.com/ISBN. It'll be able to give you all the information, contact number, website, all those pertinent details. So I'm going to go ahead and add your own ISBN. So I've already purchased my ISBNs. I got the big bulk of them at 1,000 ISBNs. So all I need to do is go into my dashboard. We're going to go ahead and select Welcome Dale. Thank you so much. And we're going to hit My Identifiers. I'm going to filter this since I have a lot already registered. And what we'll do is hit New. So that way it provides all of the ISBNs that I have not used yet. So we're going to go ahead and hit Assign Title. Now, remember how we had the metadata sheet ready to go? This is the reason why we have it ready to go. So all I have to do is do a little bit of copying and pasting. We're going to copy and paste the title. We're going to get the subtitle. We're going to grab a shortened description. Now, you remember I had a description done before? I just made a shortened version of that. Dead simple. So there we go. Let's go ahead and upload the book cover file. And remember to hit upload and change cover image, because otherwise it won't apply. You have to choose and then upload, change cover image. It's kind of wonky. I think Bowker needs to fix that. Okay, now we've got the cover image. Let's get the medium. It will be print. And I'm going to choose paperback. We're going to come back later on and get the hardcover. This is going to be for reference. And then we're going to choose the second genre of business. Let's go ahead and grab the author name. And then add a bio if you wish to. Don't forget to select author. Any other contributors, you can go ahead and add them in here. Again, don't add them in unless you've had permission to, or they are part of, getting royalties and things like that. Otherwise, you just leave that one go. All right, so the very next step is going to be choosing the publication date. And that would be today. And then I'm going to choose active record. There are other statuses in here, but I'm just going to go ahead and keep it as active record. The next thing is choose your audience. And for me, it's trade or general, if you will. And you can set the dollar amount or write for info, no set price or free. I would always set the dollar amount, and it's actually set at $19.99. Oh, excuse me, $14.99 is what I did it for. And set. That's just my personal opinion. I've done some research, and that's really the best price point for my publication. So we're going to grab this ISBN, and I'm going to put this over onto my metadata sheet, so that way I don't lose that. Now the next step is coming back into our dashboard here on KDP. We are going to want to make sure we copy and paste stroke for stroke. Every last key needs to match. And this includes, of course, the imprint name. If you get that imprint name even slightly off, even one character off, it will reject it. Let's go ahead and scroll down for the print options. We have 4 different options of black and white interior with cream paper, which is great for fiction books, black and white interior with white paper, which is great for nonfiction books, and then we have standard color interior with white paper. That's when you want to have a couple of images throughout. You don't want to have an image-heavy book inside standard color. Just a few pages here and there. You don't want to have entire spreads of that. It's just as an example, here we go. That looks pretty good, but just keep in mind that if you have something that dense, it's going to end up being very waterlogged. It's what it's going to look like. And then we have premium color interior paper. Now, the higher up that you go in here, standard color paper is going to cost much more than the black and white interior. And same thing goes for premium color. So the higher up that you go, the more it costs for that. Now, this isn't going to cost you that. It's just going to draw it away from your bottom line. For me, we're going black and white interior, and then we can choose our trim size. Now, I've already gotten all this stuff formatted in the previous video in this series. I showed exactly how I formatted it in 6:9. But in the event that you have a different trim size, you would put it in here. So we're going to choose 6:9, and it's no bleed. Bleed and no bleed, there's a difference here. No bleed would just be if you have everything within the margins, you haven't had a bunch of extra like graphics and things like that that spill off the page. For bleed, this is when you have additional stuff. Let's say you have a header with some images that go from corner to corner inside your book. That is when you would choose bleed. But I don't have bleed on this, so it won't be relevant to my publication. So the paperback finish, you have matte and glossy. Matte is a nice flat feel. It's kind of almost like a velvet type feel to it. It's not exactly like velvet, but then you have glossy, which is almost that waxy, shiny look to it. I personally prefer matte. That's just my preference. You're going to need to try out and see which one works best for you. Let's come on over here into Upload Manuscript. This is where we're going to upload our PDF. And we've got the PDF here. Now this is going to take just a moment. Next up is the book cover design. Now in the previous video I discussed a little bit about Cover Creator, but I'm going to touch on it again here because Cover Creator is just, it's good if you don't have the money or resources to hire a professional cover designer. I recommend if you can afford it, please do get a professional cover designer. You can get cover designs for as low as $5 to as much as $1,000 if you wish. But this is a step that I think is so important. But in the event that you're like, hey, this is just for fun, Dale, I'm having this as a hobby, go ahead, use the Cover Creator, but don't be surprised if you don't get too many sales. I'm going to go ahead and upload my cover design right here. And it needs to be a PDF file. We're going to open this up here, and I've got this one done here. While we wait for the interior file to finish processing, I wanted to take this chance to talk about my sponsors, Dibbly Create. Earlier I showed you how I use Dibbly Create to find keywords, write descriptions, and explore categories, but this tool does so much more. Dibbly Create, powered by the AI bot Kip, is a versatile writing tool that does it all. For this project I researched my niche, generated a title, created an outline, and wrote the entire manuscript using their content writer. But even with AI, it was crucial to have a human touch on this book. That's why I used Dibbly's freelance marketplace to hire Allison, a professional editor, to give my manuscript a polished, reader-friendly feel. After editing, I seamlessly formatted the manuscript for my print book and ebook with Dibbly Create, ready for publishing with zero friction. You can try all these incredible features and more by signing up for a 7-day free trial of Dibbly Create's Pro Plan. Just head over to dalelinks.com/DibblyCreate and take your self-publishing to the next level. Huge shout out to Dibbly Create for being a longtime sponsor of this channel. The best way you can support this content is by supporting my sponsors, so visit dalelinks.com/DibblyCreate today. Okay, I waited about 2 minutes to get it all processed together here, and while I was waiting, I filed my ISBN for my hardcover. In the event that you have a barcode over on your cover design, you'll want to make sure that you disclose that. And in this instance, I don't have a barcode on mine. Is this a deal breaker? No, not by any means. You can find a great resource for barcodes if you visit Kindlepreneur's site over at dalelinks.com/barcode. You would enter the ISBN that you have, and you'd enter the price of your book, and then it will generate a code for you, and you can go ahead and slap that on your book. But I went ahead and used the automated one because I'm not too concerned about this one reaching brick and mortar stores. If you want to get your book into brick and mortar, it's so important that you provide a barcode that has the pricing on it, because otherwise stores don't want to stock you on their shelves. So I'm not too worried about this one. Now let's scroll on down to AI generated content. So did you use AI tools in creating text, images, and or translations? Now in the event that you have used, say, Pro Writing Aid, Grammarly, or anything else to just assist, you would just say no. If you had AI help you out with an outline or character profiles or things like that, That would just be assistive. If you had AI, though, generate actual content, in other words, paragraphs, pages, or an entire book, that is AI generated content. In this particular instance, I had AI create the content. You have 3 different boxes you have to fill out here. If it was translated, you would need to disclose that. So there's no translations we need to worry about. I didn't have any images done with AI, and then text is where I need to disclose. There's 4 different options here. Some sections with minimal or no editing, some sections with extensive editing, entire work with minimal or no editing, and entire work with extensive editing. Now, see, I had this one generated by Dibbly Create with their content writer, and then I hired someone over on the Dibbly Freelance Marketplace to edit the book, and it was very extensive, deep editing. So I would end up selecting this, and they have 3 boxes you can disclose the tools that you had used, and all I used was Dibbly Create here. Just as simple as that. We have it filled out and it's good to go. Now let's hit that launch previewer to see how this book looks. Wow, that didn't take too long for that to process. Looks beautiful. And you could see here, this is where the barcode would end up being. So not bad. Not angry at that. Looks good. Excellent. Formatting looks clean. I'm pretty happy with this. Great. And if you're good with this, you would hit approve. Now, in the event that you find on the left-hand side that there's quality check issues, they will tell you specifically what's wrong. It could probably be maybe you selected no bleed and you had some type of images at the very top. And it would say, you know, that is outside the margins, you need to fix this. And you would have to just go back and either fix your manuscript or correct the bleed and no bleed selection. And this one right here, it's perfect. So we're going to go ahead and hit approve. All right, and all we have to do is scroll on down to the bottom, and it's going to give us the base cost for our book. So you remember how I was telling you about what you choose for your interior makes all the difference? You would see this considerably increase if you were to put it to standard or premium color. Be very careful with what you choose because that is going to affect the base cost of the book. Again, you don't need to pay this. The customer does. It will take away from your bottom line though, and how much you can be able to charge. I've found in a lot of instances that premium color, you're going to have to jack the rates up considerably in order to actually make any type of money, which stinks. Let's hit save and continue. Okay, our next step is going to be territories. As mentioned in the previous video, I'm going to go ahead and repeat this. The territories are where you have the rights to distribute. If you wrote the content, you produce the content, you own the content, then you get worldwide rights. In the event that you sold the rights in specific territories, then you would need to go through individual territories and select the ones that you do have distribution to. So we're going to go ahead and hit all territories. Now, I'd mentioned earlier your primary marketplace. That was what we selected at the very first step. You see it's grayed out. I can't change this. In the event that you want to change that marketplace, you need to go back and fix that. But we are set here for US. I'm happy with that. And we're going to go ahead and put in a price. So is $14.99 is going to be the price I want to do. And it's going to tell me how much it was for printing. It's going to say what my royalty rate, which is 60%. And then the royalty is going to be $6.59. Now you can see that that's kind of different. You know, you're kind of going, oh, well, hang on a second. What they're going to do is give you 60% minus the print fees. So everything after the print fees is what you're going to collect 60% of. And so that's what they come up with. And if you look over here on the right-hand side, there's what's called expanded distribution. Now, this is handled in the US and UK via Ingram Book Group. Ingram is the same one that distributes books for Ingram Spark, Draft Digital, Lulu, and a number of other websites. The problem with using this through KDP is the fact that KDP is going to take their pound of flesh. They're going to remove their particular portion here. You're going to get much better royalties if you go directly to the source. And in my opinion, Ingram Spark is definitely the place that you're going to want to visit. Now, if you're like, Dale, I don't want to fool with that. I just want to kind of get my book out to the world and be done with it. You would end up going ahead and selecting the territories that you want to have here, US and UK. But I'm going to go ahead and leave that go, and I'm actually going to distribute it directly through Ingram Spark. All right, let's scroll down and take a look at the pricing. Now, we're going to pay attention to this price here with VAT. And what we're going to want to do is price just below the dollar. So with this one, it says $11.52. I want to kind of kick this one up to $11.99. It looks a little bit prettier. It's just below the dollar. We see $14.81, So we're going to need to kick this up to right about 14, thinking 1403. Close. And it's at $14.99. And I'm going to go ahead and time lapse this a little bit. You're going to want to go through each one of these prices and try to get it just below the dollar. So I'm going to go ahead and time lapse it. See you on the other side. Okay, now that I have all the prices all dialed in, I'm paying attention to this middle number right here. That's what's going to appear on the marketplace. So I have all that dialed in. Get all of that put over onto your metadata sheet, because if you plan on distributing beyond KDP, you're going to need those numbers. You want to have those match up across the various marketplaces, because otherwise retailers get a little bit fickle about that type of stuff. They want to make sure that those prices are the same across the board. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill out my metadata sheet, and we're going to move on to the very next step, which is going to be, of course, hitting publish and going to hardcover. Okay, the last two steps, of course, is going to be reviewing the terms and conditions. If you haven't already done that, when you set up your KDP account, I highly recommend you definitely review those KDP terms and conditions. It's absolutely critical that you understand that before you publish anything to their marketplace. The next step, of course, is going to be requesting a proof. Keep in mind that if you hit that proof option, they're going to send you a proof copy that has a watermark on the front cover. It's ugly, it sucks, you can't hand it out to anybody without kind of explaining like this awkward watermark. In the event that you want an author copy, you're going to need to either schedule your book, or you're going to need to publish and wait for that book to be available on the marketplace in order to order an author copy that doesn't have a watermark on it. But I'm not going to order a proof right now because I'm pretty solid in what I do in my systems and processes. So I'm going to hit publish your paperback book. Okay, we are good to go on this one. Now, since we are on a roll, we're just going to go ahead and hit create hardcover. In the event that you haven't done a paperback, you would do the create and you would walk through the same processes that we're going to be doing here. But we're going to hit create hardcover, and it's going to import all the information over from the other publication, and it's just rinse and repeat at this point. So we can see all this, and if you want to, you can change out the categories. I wouldn't recommend it because you should hopefully be picking the right categories across all of the books, and you can change the keywords if you wish to. I'm going to leave those keywords as is. Remember, publication date and release date are the same. My book was previously published. No, it has not been. If I wanted to schedule my release, great. No, we're good. We're going to hit save and continue. Dead simple. See, we can just kill two birds with one stone when it comes to publishing our hardcover and our paperback over through KDP. Now we're coming up to the ISBN step. We will need a different ISBN for the hardcover edition because it is a different product SKU. So you're going to want to make sure that you get that filed appropriately. You can use the free ISBN again. It's no problem. Just remember, you can't use that ISBN on any other platform. I already took the liberty of getting the hardcover done, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that over. If you don't remember how I did the ISBN filing, you can always go rewind the video. Let's scroll on down here. We've got the print options. As per usual, we have black and white with cream paper and with white paper, and then we have premium color. You'll notice standard is not an option right now for hardcover. I imagine in due time they'll roll that out, but for now that's the only options that they have. Then you would choose the trim size, and as per usual, you would choose the size that is most appropriate. You will notice that there are very limited amount of trim sizes for hardcover over on KDP. It's just on their platform. Again, I imagine that's going to expand in due time. The really cool thing is when you do choose the same trim size for paperback and hardcover, you can use the same exact interior, but the book cover is definitely different. You need to pay attention to that. And this is why I say to people, hire a cover designer, because it'll make your life so much easier. Let's upload the manuscript. This is the same manuscript that I used with the paperback. And of course we can use Cover Creator, but I've told you my opinion about them, and I'm just going to go ahead and skip that, and I'm going to upload my cover file. And I've got one specific for hardcover that my cover designer did. And I don't have a barcode on there. Again, you can get a barcode over at dalelinks.com/barcode. All right, that only took about half a minute. Let's scroll it on down here. AI generated. If you didn't have AI generation here, you'd click no. In the event that you're confused about this, I recommend that you reach out to support over through Contact Us at the very bottom of your dashboard. I'm going to select yes. I had no translations done. I had no images done, but I did have the entire work with extensive editing done by Dipley Create. We're going to scroll down and we're going to hit Launch Previewer. All right, you see how much larger the cover image is on this? It spreads out even further than what it did for the paperback edition. And of course, take your time, scroll through, make sure everything looks clean. Should be fine, since I checked this before. And if there's issues, it'll tell you on the quality check on the left-hand side of your page here. So I'm pretty happy with this. We're going to go ahead and approve. Let's scroll down to the bottom and see what the base cost is, $7.05. You see it's significantly more than what it cost for the paperback edition. I think the paperback was a little over $2 or something like that, but this one's $7, significantly more. Save and continue. And of course, territories, we're going to choose all territories since we own the rights. And let's go ahead. We're going to do the same thing that we did before, but now we're going to put a different pricing, something a bit more. And great, now I'm going to go through and fix all of these numbers here so that way it's just below the dollar, just like what we did with the paperback edition. And much like we did last time, make sure that you're taking note over on your metadata sheet, the pricing that you have for the various regions. So that way, if you're publishing wide, you have that stuff immediately available and you're able to price match exactly from one region to the next. All right, I've got all of my information written down now. And of course, review the terms and conditions. If you wish to request a proof, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, publish your hardcover book and it is ready to rock and roll. Get behind the scenes footage of how I published both paperback and hardcover across tens of thousands of other platforms beyond Amazon KDP when you join my channel membership. You'll get dozens of exclusive videos, perks, and access when you become a channel member. Click the join button below this video or visit dalelinks.com/membership for more details. Now that we've published the book, what comes next? Marketing and promotion. Stay tuned to this channel as I show you the next steps to selling more books and getting your book some much needed exposure. Consider subscribing so you don't miss out. If you missed the previous step in publishing the ebook, watch this video. And if you want to see how to publish an ebook, paperback, and hardcover book in under 10 minutes, watch this video. I'll see you in either one.